Good evening, everybody. Yusuf Vernon here from the Nevada Utah Conference. Not sitting by a bonfire tonight, just taking it easy. Leg is still throbbing from camp. I got it on some ice sitting here waiting. And I thought I would deal with a question that came across and make a little quick video for you guys while I'm waiting for my ice to make my knee stop throbbing. So, mental note for all of you guys: never hurt your kneecap. It hurts. So here's the question. Some clubs do investiture earlier, and some do them later. If camporee is between these, does a club that does investiture before camporee, right, have to wait all year to when they do investiture again to award the patches they earned at camporee to those kids? And I guess it's a fair question. Of course, my first thought was, have you read the manual? And so that was my first response to this person was, have you read the manual? And they admitted they have not. So I recommended read the section on investiture. But here we'll cut down the short of it for everybody, all right? Investiture is for the levels, okay? Friend, companion, guide, you guys know the list, right? And the advanced versions, don't forget the advanced versions. And traditionally, at that exact same time, because it's the end of the year, right, we also do things like our Club Pathfinder of the Year, Good Conduct Awards, any special awards our club has, right? Those are usually given at the same time. And then also, whatever patches they have earned to date, they're also given at that time. They don't have to be given at that time or wait until that time to give them. But traditionally, whatever hasn't been given to the kids to that date is then given to the kids. But when you go to a camporee, and if let's say your investiture was the last week of May, very common date. But then, like our conference, the week after Father's Day, we had camporee, and there was a camporee patch and some honors they could have earned while they were at the camp. And now you come home, and it's the end of June. And you're going, okay, when do I give these patches to the kids? You can give them to them right now. There's nothing in the manual that says you cannot. Depending on, if you read different transcripts from the manual, the old manual, the current manual, the GC's, the leader's guide. You can find that PDF floating around the internet still. They all recommend giving out the honors, at the end of the... Oh, sorry, I got to shift. At the end of the year there. But you're not limited to it. So there is clubs that will give out the honors like twice a year or quarterly. When I was a director, I like to try to get all the honors they'd earned and levels done before camporee. But we never quit. We went all year round. So, as soon as we were done investing, we were, all summer we still did activities and we had more stuff. And usually we did an induction in September at the beginning of the year for the calendar year for the club. And we usually have more honors we'd give out at that time, too. We'd be like, yay, here's all our new members, and here's what they earned over the summer, and we'd give out more baggies. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And if you actually read the Adventure Director's Guide, it actually recommends doing it more often, depending on the attention span of the kids. One version of the Little Lamb book and even Beaver books recommended even by the meeting. Because those kids, they have no attention span. Right? So, with your club, if you need to give them out more often, that's perfectly acceptable. Now, I do know some purists that are like, it must be given out in investiture. But investiture is about the class levels. We don't actually invest you in origami or canoeing or rock climbing. We recognize you have worked on those this year, and the best time to recognize them is usually the investiture service. I know clubs that make a day out of an investiture service, and like they'll invest at one part of the day, like in the morning, they'll invest in front of the church, but in the afternoon they have a celebration of what they earned, and they'll do a big thing like a certificate with all the patches they earned for the year stapled to it, or one club did a ribbon with all the clubs stapled to it. Not clubs, sorry, the patches, the honors stapled to it. I've seen clubs, they do big slideshows, they do displays in the halls of the church of everything they've done. They can get pretty intense, actually. And, some churches, they do it all up front. Nothing wrong with that. Some pastors, it's too much, it takes too long. You gotta pick and choose what you're going to do. Other churches are like, more the merrier. If we get out at 2, it's fine. Keep the ice cream in the freezer for potluck so it doesn't melt. And that's fine, too. There's nothing wrong with having investiture before or after camporee. I always liked it before camporee, just because I want my kids to go to camporee with as many new patches as possible, so they didn't, they looked good next to the other clubs, and also their levels too, because at camporee sometimes levels matter. Especially for honor guards and stuff. Sometimes, they want all the guides up doing something, or so if they're not invested yet, it can hold them back. So I like that. I like investiture before camporee, but I usually do a supplemental pack after camporee or towards the end of summer. This is what summer was for us. It involved camporee and all these other outings, maybe a fun adventure trip. I've taken Pathfinders rafting, hiking, mountain biking. There's just so many fun things to do in the summer. And you got to do so many honors. And, it's a shame to wait all year just to recognize those again. So a lot of times, sometimes we did a mini end of summer party kind of thing right before we got to induction again, and like, hey, this is, maybe we do it at a park or something like this is what we did this summer. Maybe we did a PowerPoint for the church, a little presentation instead of children's story, what we did for the summer. I always try to do it different. I honestly, when it comes to programming at church, I never tried to do it the same way twice, just because it keeps the churches mixed up and not knowing exactly what was going on. The kids, we tried kind of our theme for the year, and everything was always different. So, but it's not chiseled in stone, okay? So, Moses did not have a sub piece of stone on how Pathfinder honors are to be given out. So, investiture levels, that's pretty set. So, even though if I had a kid finish late, sometimes we do like a mini investiture later in the summer. For some reason they're goofing off, they didn't finish their companion level, and then by the end of May, but by the end of July they had it done. So we do a smaller ceremony. We wouldn't do a whole big thing in front of the church again, but just to get them their pin so they're caught up for the new year. That kind of stuff is acceptable. The manual doesn't say you can only invest once a year. It says it's traditionally done at the end of the year. But that's just tradition. It's not set in stone. It's as you need it as a club. So I've heard of clubs that invest and induct twice a year, and they just do it by halves. Nothing wrong with that. So it really is about what works for you guys in your church. But working here in the conference, I'm not going to come yelling at you if I see you guys giving out baggies of extra patches after camporee, so the kids can get them on for the summer, right? And usually coming back from camporee, they want them now anyway. So, It's okay, nothing wrong with it, and it's a unique question. I don't think anybody's asked me that one, so yeah. Main investiture, give out what they got to that date. If you need supplemental awarding of anything, you can award whenever it works for your club. That's the short answer. So, nice talking to you. My knee's not numb yet from the ice, but it'll get there. So, have a good evening, and hopefully I'll do some more recordings from my bonfire. And hopefully I'll have a lot more recordings over the summer. And feel free to post comments on this video and share it around and ask more questions. And I got a whole lot of stuff, like I say, on the pipeline coming. I just got to work on them. But I have a lot more free time coming up. We're past Camporee, so I get a little more free time. So I'm going to be working on some more videos here. And hopefully everybody will have a very good summer. And hopefully your kids are going to be all excited to come back next year, because you're going to have the most awesome plan for these kids to have an encounter with nature, with life, and with God. So we'll talk to you later.